What is going on, everybody? Artie here for another Facebook Live sports show. With me, of course, is the guy that's so happy because it's Super Bowl weekend coming up. He's a Patriots fan. My man, John Finkel. What's up, sir?
Not much. Just just routine at this point. I know how to prepare myself on Friday. I know how to do it on Saturday. So I'm not even that emotionally amped up. I know how to time it just like Brady does.
Gotcha. And we got to give a shout out to our boy who was on last week, Sean Jensen. He's hooking us up with this great interview. It's none other than Caleb Truax. Thanks for taking the time to chat with us, Caleb. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing good, man. Thanks for having us. Thanks for having me.
First of all, first of all, anybody let us know if you have any questions for Caleb. Feel free to write it in the comment section below. We'll try and get to that. We're going to talk a little bit about boxing, fatherhood. We might even talk about Radio Row because Caleb was there because he's from Minnesota. We're going to talk a little bit about that. But congrats on winning the title recently. It was back in December, right, man?
Yeah, December 9th over in London.
Nice. Talk a little bit about like the preparation for that fight and, then take us to fight night and just all the emotions that were going on right before the fight started, man.
Yeah. So normally I like to have at least like 8 weeks for a training camp. And we got this call a little bit short notice, not too short notice, but so I had about 6 weeks to prepare and then 1 week of travel over in London. So I got the call probably end of October and got straight to work and my coaches and my manager and promoter, they all drew up a great game plan for me, and I knew what I had to do. Just grinded all 6 weeks and went over there and with 100% complete confidence that I could get the job done. James DeGale was he was the number one fighter in the division and an Olympic gold medalist and had a huge amateur pedigree and I was a huge underdog, but like I said, I was confident and went over there and stole his belt in his hometown.
That's awesome. I always want to ask, just for that part of it, being an underdog, what's kind of the self-talk you have? Obviously, it's his home turf. You're flying over there. What is in your head kind of the week or two before? How do you always hear for the NBA, LeBron puts his phone away for the playoffs, or the guys in Super Bowl week by Tuesday have all your seats arranged, do nothing. Like, what's a little bit of your last week like when you're dialed in and you're an underdog and you got to make it happen?
Actually, I had never fought overseas before. This is my first trip overseas, and it was actually really, really easy for me. I mean, normally when I fight at home, you have kind of some distractions with friends and family, and like you said, people want tickets and this and that. And over there, nobody knew me, so I'm over there, and nobody expected me to win, and I had no pressure on me. I was just kind of was able to do my own thing. It was tough being away from my girlfriend and daughter, and being away from home for 10 days or whatever it was. But I was able just to 100% focus on boxing and the task at hand. And I just got to basically just a lot of laying around and sitting in a hotel waiting, trying to get sleep and trying to catch up with that time change and sleep schedule.
Mm-hmm. Very cool. We're talking with people. We asked the question like, what was their favorite boxing moment and all that. For you, obviously, you're talking about when you recently won the IBF Super-Middleweight World Championship belt. Now, do people start, especially with social media now, are people like in your division like now, like are they reaching out to you like, hey, let's start something, let's get
man, I'm getting called out like crazy, man. Because I was underdog and people might think it's an easy fight for them, but obviously I'm holding on to that belt with everything I got, and I've been getting people wanting to move up to fight me, move down to fight me. The champions in the division want to fight me, and I said I told my promoter right away I'm okay with having a target on my back as long as it's a high price target.
Yes, that's a good move.
Yeah.
Do you have a set, like, so once you get to become champion, that's obviously the goal, and then defending the title. Is there someone who your whole career you've wanted to fight or move up in weight to fight, or who you've been looking at, or now that you're the champ, it's up to everybody else to try to challenge you?
I don't really. I've never been the type of guy to call people out and seek fights that way. I just kind of let things play themselves out and let my promoters and my managers do that stuff for me. I always tell people I just punch people. I pay other people to do all the business. But No, man. Right now we're in talks with a rematch, or for a rematch with the guy I fought and beat in December, James DeGale. So that might happen in April. Sounds like it's going to.
Back there.
It's I'm the champ now, man. It's gonna be here. I want it to be in Minneapolis. They're trying to make it happen in Minneapolis. If not Minneapolis, then it sounds like maybe Las Vegas. But I should find out here in the next week or so, because April's coming up pretty fast, and that's when they want to do it, I believe. So should know soon.
Let's talk about your origin story, man. How'd you get into the world of boxing?
Man, I started late. I didn't start till I was about 19 or 20. And I kind of just fell into it. I played football and baseball my whole life. And when I was in high school, I kind of had a knee injury that was lingering on, and went to college to play football. I couldn't get my knee better, and I just decided to hang them up and come back. I went to college in Virginia State and decided to come back to the University of Minnesota just for an education. And I was just sitting around bored one night, man. Me and my buddy Rob Sutherland were sitting in my apartment, probably drinking beer or something, and found an ad for a tough man competition, and we both decided to do it. We both got our butt whooped the first time, and he quit and I didn't, and 14 years later, I'm a world champ.
Nice, man.
That's fantastic. Do you have, and I have to ask before we move on to other stuff, boxing movies, are there any that because back then you're sitting around, drinking beers, half of that is pretending to be Rocky beating Clubber Lang or whoever your guy is. And now with, Southpaw and all these movies seem to be, they kind of have figured out a new formula for them. Are there any that you've watched over and over again that you enjoy, or is there a favorite one that pumps you up?
My two favorite boxing movies are Rocky 1, obviously. All the Rocky movies are actually not all of them, but 1, 2, and 3 1, 2, and 3 and 4 are pretty good. But Rocky 1 and The Great White Hype, those are my two favorite.
Nice.
I tell everybody that's the most realistic boxing movie ever made, because it just shows you how shady boxing can be sometimes, and just a good comedy. But it's hard for me to watch boxing movies, man. Like I liked Creed, that was pretty good.
Yeah.
Southpaw was okay, but as far as the boxing scenes go, man, they're all pretty outlandish.
Oh yeah, nobody plays defense. Everybody just gets their kid
man.
knocked off for 5 rounds, 8 rounds.
Yeah, exactly.
What for you? You're talking about when you're overseas, going for that championship belt and the title. You're talking about missing your family. Talk a little bit about how you balance, work and family, because obviously you're training and all that here and there. But talk a little bit about how you kind of juggle life and your family.
Yeah, well, first of all, I'm really, really lucky to be able to do what I do. I mean, being able to box full time lets me spend a lot more time with my daughter and with my girlfriend than somebody with a 9 to 5 would have. I wake up in the morning, go work out, then I'm able to come back home and hang out until about 4 o'clock. Then I go to the boxing gym. So I'm pretty lucky, man. My girlfriend's a stay-at-home mom for now. While my daughter, she just turned 2 yesterday, so she'll probably stay home a couple more years until she starts school. But we're basically 2 stay-at-home parents, man. I'm gone working out twice a day, but I'm able to just spend time that most people don't have to spend with their kids. So
nice, man. Thanks for sharing that.
Do you ever? I saw you on Instagram and on Twitter and stuff. You kind of promote, you're hitting your workouts, your leg days, and things like that. I always used to have. I have 2 little kids as well, but you always forget after when you do leg day and you come home, and the kids want to jump on you and pick you up, and that brief moment always used to hit me where I'm like, hey, and then you're like, oh, easy. You ever have that? I would imagine with that. I saw some of the stuff you were putting out there.
Absolutely, man. She jumps all over me, and actually, I use a foam roller or not. I know if you're familiar with that. And so every time I jump on the foam roller to kind of relieve the stress on my muscles and stuff, Gia always jumps on top and adds a little bit extra weight to push down on the foam roller. So she helps me out too.
Yeah, they're big fans of getting on your back for the push-ups and taking a ride on all that kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
For sure. That's awesome.
Not only are you adding more weight, but you're adding weight that you have to stable yourself. So you're now
you
have to balance yourself in that push-up, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Nice. Talk a little bit about, especially, you said you have a 2-year-old daughter. What is your favorite family movie right now, like the one that she watches that she asks you guys to watch over and over again?
Oh man, well, how much time do we got? 20 minutes. Well, I just introduced her to How to Train Your Dragons, and I like that one. So she had never seen that. She likes that one now. Moana, I've seen that about 40,000 times. Trolls, Frozen, you name it, man.
So you can do the whole rap that The Rock does in Moana, probably for the.
Oh yeah, hey, I listen to Moana songs more than she does, man.
I know, man. That's one where it's the only one where it'll be on in the car, and then they're out of the car after I drop them off at school, and then like 10 minutes pass, and I'm still realizing I haven't changed.
Still grooving to it.
It's funny, like you have those songs. Like there's this one song that my daughter's that movie, The Descendants 2 on Disney. There's one song that I downloaded, and I was at the gym, and I was listening to it, and I'm like, yeah, and I'm like, wait a minute, what are you doing here? All of a sudden, like,
hey, I catch myself too, man. I catch myself too singing Moana. I told my girlfriend right. It was right when Moana first came out, or right when we first got it, anyways. I forgot my headphones one day when I went for a run, and I was running like 5 miles around the neighborhood, and I get like halfway, and I'm thinking to myself, like, what am I doing? I'm like humming like the Shiny song to myself. Like, I get back.
So you're not going to do You're Welcome, your walk-up music next time? I'm sure the Rock get a nice shout-out for that.
What can I say? Man, I said, I know it, man. I know every one of them.
Nice, man. Does your daughter kind of understand like what you do? Like, she'll see you training. She might see photos of you and stuff like that. But I know she's 2 years old. Does she kind of understand like what Daddy does for a living?
I don't think she understands yet. And even when she's old enough, I don't think I would never like bring her to a fight or anything like that. I don't want her seeing me get punched or anything like that. I don't know how she'd react to it, but she does when I'm shadowboxing, messing around in the kitchen. She'll start throwing out some. She's got a mean left jab. I tell you how much.
Nice. Talk a little bit about too. You said you live in Minnesota. You were on. I saw. People make sure you follow Caleb on Twitter. You can follow him over at Golden Caleb T. You were on Radio Row, I believe Tuesday and Wednesday. For the whole like Super Bowl thing. Talk about that experience, man.
Oh, it was cool, man. I was that was the first time I've ever been there, obviously, and fortunate enough to go down there. I went down there with Sean Jensen, your guest from last week. That's a good friend of mine, and he's been helping me out with some media stuff, and went down there, did about, I don't know, like Tuesday I probably did 20, 30 interviews, and it felt like I just fought a 12-round fight, man. I got done, and I texted him. I'm like, man, what the hell happened? I'm like exhausted. I was there from like 11:30 till 4. Got home, laid down, and I could have went to sleep right there, man. But and then Wednesday I didn't have as much to do. But I had probably maybe 10 interviews, or 6, 7, 10 interviews, something like that. But it was as the week progresses, the more and more people get into town, and there was a ton of like old NFL stars and Hall of Famers and Terrell Owens and Anthony Munoz and Willie McGinnis or something like that. I saw Stephen A. Smith there, and so there was a lot more people in town. So that brought a lot more fans. And there wasn't that much space to begin with on Tuesday, and on Wednesday it was even more packed and crowded. So it was pretty crazy down there.
Nice. Who gets you starstruck? Like, was anybody there? Oh
I don't get too starstruck. The only time I've ever really been starstruck was when I met Mike Tyson. He was he was a promoter for one of my fights, a co-promoter for one of my fights, probably 3 or 4 years ago here in Minneapolis at Target Center. And the first time I met him, I'm just like, hey, didn't know what to do. And normally I don't get like that, but obviously grew up watching him fight, and the baddest man on the planet. It was kind of I was a little bit starstruck.
Are there other fighters you kind of have modeled your actual stance and style as? Obviously, everybody want to be Iron Mike, but are there particular guys who growing up where you've maybe stolen a jab from somebody or some footwork from somebody else?
Yeah, I watch a lot of, especially because I started late. I watch a lot of boxing, watch a lot of film, and try to take stuff that I think that I could use from anybody that I can see. I watch a lot of Bernard Hopkins. film and try to take some of his stuff because he's really sound, really technically sound. My favorite fighter was Felix Trinidad growing up, so I always try to throw a left hook like he does. But no, anything I can steal from any fighter, even if it's a guy that I'm gonna go up and fight against someday, I'll try to see something I can snatch from him and use for myself.
That's awesome.
What's like for you, like the biggest misconception people have about the sport of boxing, in your opinion?
I think that it's I mean, obviously it's a violent sport, but it's not like it's a violent sport in terms of you're punching the other person, but that's not. I can't think of a better way to describe it, but it's not a violent sport. It's a gentleman's sport for the most part. There might be trash talk. You're going out there to punch the guy, which is obviously violent, but at the end of the day, man, it's a business and it's a way to provide for your family. And very few times have I ever had any kind of problems with any of the people that I've fought, over the years after the fight. And some of the guys that I've beat, they're great friends today. Like I talk to them all the time, and I've forged a lot of friendships with a lot of people that I punch in the face throughout the years.
That's actually a good conflict resolution for you when your daughter gets a little older. Be like, look, I punch these guys in the face and we're friends. You can get over stealing
exactly.
My Little Pony.
Exactly. I'm going to use that, man. I'm going to use that.
Also, too, kind of going with, just like what John said, talking about fatherhood. Your father, your daughter's 2 years old. For new dads watching this right now or expecting, dads who are going to be a dad soon, what's like the biggest piece of advice you'd offer to them?
Be patient, I guess, man. Like they're gonna do stuff that irritates you. They're gonna do stuff that spill whatever, or throw their food off their tray, or cry, or do whatever. But just remember, you did the same thing, man. So it's you just got to be patient. And I've been pretty lucky. My daughter is all for about the first year and a half. She was like a golden child, and she didn't do anything wrong, never said no, and then she started hitting like probably, I don't know, maybe 20 months and no.
They all turn on you.
It's getting a little bit rough, right? It's getting a little bit rough right now, but it's even though it's irritating, it's funny at the same time. So it's it's cool to see her develop her own little personality.
Nice. Andrew Roman wants to know what's your take on the rematch of Canelo and Triple G?
Canelo and Triple G, yeah. Well, it looks like it says Camelot and Triple G, but
the same thing,
it's not Camelot. Canelo and that spell check right there. Canelo and Triple G the second time around. I just hope there's no controversy. The first fight was a really good fight, but I thought Triple G should have won, and the one scorecard that the judge had that had Canelo winning was bogus. So it kind of scarred a really good fight, and this time. Obviously, I hope there's no controversy. If I had to pick somebody, I'd probably pick Canelo because he's the younger guy.
Not Camelot.
And I'd probably pick Camelot because he's got like a sword that he can bring into the ring. And no, I pick Canelo because he's a younger guy. And a lot of times in rematches, the younger guy comes out on top because that extra 8 months or whatever it's been since the first fight. Triple G. I think he's probably 35 years old, and Canelo's maybe 26. So age might have caught up with him. I hope not, because I want it to be a good fight again. But if anything, I'd pick Canelo.
I thought I froze for a second. Then I couldn't hear you. Said you pick Canelo?
Yep. Okay. I pick Canelo.
All right. I got the whole thing, and then at the last minute who you were picking, it froze. I didn't know who you actually picked.
You talked about the scoring, right? And sometimes I'll watch boxing matches here and there. No way am I an expert or, somewhat knowledgeable of the game. I follow it. But when you see something like you said, where there was an issue with the scoring, like, does that happen a lot? And if so, like, do you personally, like, let's say you and your trainer and your team were like, that was a weird score. Like, what happened there? Do you guys have a chance to almost review that, or no? You just got to take it as it is and like go on to the next fight.
It happens. I mean, it happens more than it should. That's for sure. Boxing gets like that adage, a hometown decision for a reason, and it's happened far too often. And the bad thing about the last couple of years is it's happened on some pretty big fights. Like Canelo Triple G was one of the biggest fights of the year, and one of the scorecards just kind of it turns the casual fans off because you're watching something and you see one thing, and then everybody sees one thing, and then the judges who actually the only people that matters, they see something totally different. It turns casual fans off. So boxing's got to do better in the terms of making sure the judges are held accountable when they do turn in bad scorecards. But I mean, I've had a couple. Even this past fight against DeGale, where I won the title, it was a majority decision, meaning two judges chose me and one chose it a draw. And the first judge was a British judge, and he says it's 114, and most people had it 8 rounds to 4 or 9 rounds to 3. Some people had it 10 rounds to 2, and those are like the British ringside press, so they're biased towards their guy, and they still scored it easily for me. And that judge scores it a draw, and it's like, come on, you guys are gonna rob me. And then luckily the other two was one of the other judges was from Canada, and the other guy was from New Jersey, so they got the right scores.
The Jersey guys all help you out.
But you can to get back to your question, you can. There's a way to you can protest a judge's decision, but for the most part, it's kind of just nothing really happens unless it's really, really egregious or they can prove something is corrupt or something like that. Nothing usually happens.
All right, cool. Yeah. We'll have 2 more questions. John, you asked one, then I'll finish it off, man.
Oh, yeah. One of the questions I'll always ask, especially with boxers, is the leaving the ring moment as a champion. No one knows what that's like. There's like 0.01% of the population will ever know what leaving a ring as a champion is. Just give me a little taste of what that feels like, knowing that you're champion, you're walking out with them.
Oh, man, it was just like pure joy, man. Like I've been telling everybody at radio all week, it's, being or next to my daughter being born, it's a very close next to being my daughter being born. That's the second best thing I've ever, second most joy I've ever felt in my life, man. Just it's 14 years of hard work, a culmination of 14 years of hard work, and it's just I was able to celebrate it with all the guys that I've worked with my whole career, my trainer Tom Halstead, my manager Ron Like, Cutman Jim Marine, and my promoter Tony Gargelko. They've been with me since day one, so we've had some ups and downs, and it's been a long ride, and to be able to share that moment with them was just fantastic.
Nice,
man. Again, congratulations.
Thank you.
My last question is kind of going before the fight. It doesn't have to be about the championship fight, but just any fight in general. What's like your mindset, and like, are you listening to music, or you're not? Are you just kind of quiet to yourself? Like, what's like the pregame before the boxing match starts?
I try to relax and just don't waste any energy. Basically, I'm off my feet for the most part all day. I go for a walk. Like usually, I eat breakfast, go for a walk on the treadmill if it's cold outside, or just walk outside, stretch a little bit, and then just kind of relax all day long. Try to take a nap. Definitely listen to some music. I like listen to like oldies, like I listen to like Bob Marley, or I listen to Bill Withers, or something that's just let you cool out and just relax, man. I don't want to get too hyped up because that's what kind of attitude I have, is just even keel, man. So I go in there with that attitude and don't get too high, don't get too low, and just relax, man.
Nice, very cool. Caleb, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us, people. Like I said, make sure you follow him on Twitter over at Golden Caleb T. And that's on Twitter. Where else can people find you, man? I'm
on Instagram as well. Same handle, Golden Caleb T, and Facebook as well. Just my fan page is just Caleb Truax. So check me out. I love interacting with fans and talking about boxing or fishing or whatever it may be, man. So
cool, man. Appreciate it. Thanks again for the time. What are you gonna say?
Yeah, thanks, fellas.
We can't hear you.
Oh, you guys can't hear me?
No, now I can.
Honestly, I was going to start hitting you up on the Instagram workout side. I like some of the stuff you're doing there. So,
all right, man. I got something for you today, man. I'll post something when I get done with this.
All right, okay.
Just quickly, Caleb. John has his awesome hashtag Sweat Before 6. You always can see him working out in his gym at home. So
before 6 in the morning.
Yeah, dude. I have little kids. The only time I can ever work out is before that.
Tough, man. I sweat before like 10:30, but like I said, I'm lucky. I get time to do whatever I want, basically in the middle of the day, in between my workouts with my daughter. So I'm blessed in that sense.
I gotta give a shout out to John for the alliteration. So if you're if you work out after 10, you can be like tired after 10.
Tired after 10.
Perfect.
All right. Well, I don't get tired though, man. Just it's I gotta figure something else out, man. Yeah, training after 10.
There you go.
All right, none of this silliness. Caleb, thanks again for taking the time to chat with us. Facebook, we hope you enjoyed this awesome chat with Caleb. Have fun, everybody. Super Bowl weekend. We know who John's picking. Caleb, who do you got this weekend?
I gotta go with, like I said, I can't pick against the GOAT, man. It's Tom Brady. What will this be, number 7 or 6 for him? 6. Yeah.
6.
Yeah. I think he'll get a 6th ring. If the Eagles play like they did against the Vikings 2 weeks ago, though, that there's a good chance Eagles could win. But they played a perfect game. I don't think they'll do that again. So I got Patriots 27, Eagles 17.
Nice. I got Pats 30, Eagles 21. So we'll see how it happens. But again, thanks everybody for checking out the show. We'll see y'all later.